Good morning. I just want to take a few minutes to explain some of these features of the cutout prints I sent from Photoshop. As you can see, it creates blocks of the image rather than having all of the detail, these little bushes, every little bush and twig, and it masses the colors and the shapes together, which will give me an easier reference to apply to my painting. I especially like this one because I loved going on a walk and seeing these colors. It was just too much detail. I thought that the trees were lovely and these colors were lovely, but look at how the computer program software masked these color shapes, and that's going to make it easier for me to block in my compositions. And of course, compositions are there to be changed. You don't have to follow it letter by letter on any of these. I did quick little value studies because with most of these landscapes, there's little value change because that's the beauty of nature. But I want you to think in terms of blocking in and exaggerating your values a little bit. That will help you get established with your composition and your value studies. Just a refresher about oranging up that some of you may have forgotten. I'm going to, for this demo today, I'm going to use one black gessoed canvas. It's a 12 by 12, and this is a 12 by 12 panel, and I'm going to just orange it up. I didn't gesso this previously. That doesn't mean you don't have to gesso, but I just want to do this quick demo and show you how I orange up. Oranging up makes it so that the white of the canvas doesn't show through with your brush strokes, and it gives the painting that you'll do warmth and a feeling of unity. So I just put a little dollop of the orange on there. I've got it damp, it's too damp, but I've got a damp paper towel, and I'm just going to orange up the canvas. It just takes, this is done in real time for you. And I can go in here either while it's wet or even let it dry and set up. Just because of the process I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to let this set up for a few minutes. As you can see, I've done a quick sketch with white chalk on this 12-inch black gessoed canvas, and it kind of gives me a roadmap to start work on this. With this one, I'm going to just put some outlines on my canvas just to show the structure of the trees. I chose this image because I think it's going to be more about the color, and because the leaves in our area have either been blown off or rained off, I haven't seen that much fall foliage. So with this image, I'm going to capitalize on the orange and the yellows and the kind of burnt toast feel I think that fall gives me on some of my hikes through some deciduous tree paths. So I'm going to put the trees in dark as a structure for just holding all the rest of my foliage and my color. The other thing I wanted to say is that, again, about composition, this printout is rectangle and my little value study is on a square, and I'm going to paint it on a square. And that I am choosing to do that. I can cut a little bit off of each end and fit my composition into a square. I've moved the trees down a little bit, but that still gives me lots of room to put the fall foliage. So this is a quick little sketch, and I just used a little round brush to just kind of block in these shapes. And certainly I'm going to be going over a lot of them with other colors, but this is just to give me some bones to my painting. So I am going to use a little bit of palette knife through this because I think this image lends itself well to palette knife. I'm going to be watching my values because this image could get really lost in mid-tone. So I'm going to be a little bit extreme. I'm going to probably use more of the orange and red, orange and reddish brown, yellow in the foliage than the green that shows up, which will make this bordering on an analogous painting with colors next to each other, with green as the complement. So a quick review of the palette. I am still trying to stay with a limited palette, and I have warms and cools of each of my primaries. I've added these extra colors because I know that this color is made with white and ultramarine. I can get this same color by mixing those two, but I like it quickly out of the tube. And this lavender is a better lavender than I can mix by mixing the blue and red. This is alizarin crimson, cad red light, burnt sienna, yellow ochre, cad yellow light, white and black, of course. I put a little bit of green gold on my palette just to kind of give me a little bit of latitude with the greens. But these are phthalo blue, ultramarine. That's it. I am going to be using mostly a 3/4 inch flat and a 1 inch flat. I'm going to probably use a little bit of palette knife, and I may be using my scruffy brush a little bit for some of the foliage. I'm not going to get into detail, but if I do, this is a 1/2 inch, and I don't know what the other one is, but these little smaller brushes, but they're flats. I like painting with the flats the most. I do have a round, just really for the drawing part. That's really where I use it the most, but mostly flats, mostly 3/4 and 1 inch flats, and then the palette knife. next little bit I'm going to do on this piece, I've got everything pretty much blocked in. The next thing I'm going to do is to use my palette knife. You always want to start with a clean one. But when I dip into the paint, it's like I load it. Whoops, that didn't get much. And I don't want to homogenize the color. I want to pick up several different colors. You see? And then I'm going to, you have to use your wrist. And this will give the texture that painting fallen leaves needs. And you have to really get in there with your wrist and move it around. You don't want every stroke to look like this. You want to be able to move it around. And since I'm just starting this bit, I don't want to make too much texture to start with. I'm going to see that I get the colors in I want, and then I can go back over it with a little heavier knife. But now I've kind of stopped looking at this or this, because now I have enough laid in here that I want to just put some texture in with the knife. The other thing I wanted to mention again, we've talked about it before, is that when you're going to create depth or distance, you want to use cooler colors in the back. And the warmer colors in the foreground. So I am going to go back in there with some blues, but they might get covered up. But it cools it a little bit. And creates depth on the flat surface. So I'm kind of liking that. And I said before that we're going into extremes. I don't have all the colors in this that show fall. So I'm going to exaggerate and use artist license to put in more colors than I see there. can see that I've probably done more than what you might have expected with the palette knife, but it was really just kind of fitting it all in with the same kind of strokes that I showed you in the beginning to get the texture. I'm having a little bit of a challenge with the trees, but I am going to remember, trees are cylinders, and so it's usually dark on one side, lighter on the other, and we want to make them have the shape with the knife of some strokes around like that, not going straight up and down. And you see I've got some cool on the cool side of the trunk. I'm going to stop with this one for now because, as you can see, there's a lot of paint on here. I will come back to it and probably take a picture of it when it's done. With this painting, I have my chalk drawing, and I'm going to paint kind of in between the lines so that when I get close to completing it, I can erase the chalk lines. And again, it's the same palette: Cad Red Light, Alizarin Crimson, Phthalo Ultramarine, a little bit of the lighter ultramarine, Yellow Ochre, and Cad Yellow Light. I've got a little bit of this kind of, what is it called? Light olive green here, and then plus black and white. That is it, and it kind of looks like the colors. I mean, my palette, look at that. My palette kind of looks like that, and I'm going to be exaggerating this little bit of peak of water here, and I'm going to be exaggerating the fall colors in here. This was quite a challenge for me, and I'm guessing that some of it may be a challenge for you. If not, just take what you like and leave the rest. I used both palette knife and brush. I used black gessoed canvas and an oranged up canvas. You can do any or all of the above, but I'm really looking forward to your trying to exaggerate some of the things that I did, or just what you see in your own references or in my references, to create extreme values, extreme saturated color, because fall colors are pretty saturated. This is the end of this lesson, and next week we will be doing seascapes. Bye for now.